You can't sleep. Again. It's not the ground, it's not the cold, it's not the sounds of the others breathing in their tents around you. It's the noise inside your head, the kind that doesn't stop, the kind that replays every conversation, every misunderstood sentence, every moment when you tried to explain and saw their eyes glaze over. You're tired of trying, so you get up. The night air hits your face, damp and cool. Your feet find the path without thinking. You've walked this camp enough times to know where the roots stick up, where the stones jut out. You move slowly, carefully, not because you're afraid of waking anyone, but because you have nowhere else to go. And then you see it. A glow. Faint, orange, barely there. Down the slope, past the last tent, where the olive trees start to cluster together. A fire, or what's left of one. Just embers now, glowing like a secret someone forgot to put out. You stop, because sitting next to it, there's a shape. A person. Shoulders hunched forward, hands resting on knees, staring into the dying light like it might tell him something. His robe is dark, worn at the edges, pulled tight around his arms against the cold. His hair falls forward, hiding most of his face. You recognize him. Of course you do. Everyone here knows him. Everyone here came because of him. But right now, he doesn't look like a teacher. He doesn't look like someone with answers. He looks like someone who couldn't sleep either. You should go back. That's what you tell yourself. But your feet don't move. And he hasn't looked up. Maybe he doesn't even know you're standing there, 20 paces away, half hidden by the shadow of a tree. Then he shifts, just slightly. His weight moves to one side, his hand presses into the ground, and he scoots over. Not much, just enough. Enough to make space on the flat stone next to him. He still hasn't looked at you. He doesn't call out. He doesn't wave you over. He just makes room. And somehow, that's worse than an invitation. Because an invitation, you can refuse. But this quiet acknowledgement that you're there, that you're seen, even in the dark, you can't ignore it. So you walk, slow, one foot, then the other. The ground crunches softly under your sandals, twigs, dry grass, small stones. Each step sounds too loud in the stillness, but he doesn't flinch, he doesn't turn. He just keeps staring at the embers, like he's been waiting for you all along. You reach the edge of the firelight. You stop. And then, without lifting his head, he speaks. His voice is low, rough, like he hasn't used it in hours. Sit if you want. That's all he says. Not, are you okay? Not, what's wrong? Just sit if you want. You hesitate, Not because you don't want to, but because you're so used to people asking questions, so used to having to explain, to justify, to perform some version of yourself that makes sense to them. But he's not asking, he's just sitting. So you lower yourself onto the stone beside him. It's cold at first, hard against your legs, but the warmth from the embers reaches you in waves. Small, inconsistent, but real. You sit. He sits. The fire breathes between you, soft and dying. And for the first time in longer than you can remember, you don't have to say anything. You don't know how long you've been sitting there. Could be 5 minutes. Could be an hour. Time moves differently in the dark, slower, thicker, like it's waiting for something to happen, but nothing does. Just the two of you, the embers, the night pressing in from all sides. Your throat feels tight, not from crying. You haven't cried. It's the kind of tightness that comes from holding everything in for so long that your body forgets how to let go. You swallow, and it hurts a little, dry, scratchy. He moves. Not suddenly. Nothing about him is sudden. He reaches to his left, where the shadows are deeper, and you hear a soft scraping sound. Clay against stone. He's dragging something closer. A jar. Terracotta, wider at the bottom, sealed with a wooden plug wrapped in cloth. The kind people use for water when they travel. It's old. You can tell by the way the surface has worn smooth in some places, rough in others, like it's been gripped by 1,000 different hands. He pulls the plug out with a soft pop. The cloth unwinds, and then he tilts the jar, pouring water into a small wooden cup. The sound is gentle, trickling, almost rhythmic. You watch the stream catch the faint orange glow of the embers, just for a second, before it disappears into the cup. He sets the jar down, lifts the cup, and then he does something you don't expect. He doesn't hand it to you. He sets it down. Between the two of you, on the flattest part of the stone, right there, within reach, close enough that you could take it without stretching. But he doesn't say, "Here." He doesn't say, "Drink this." He doesn't even look at you. He just puts it there and leans back. His hands return to his knees. His gaze returns to the fire, like nothing happened, like he didn't just offer you something without making it feel like an offer. You stare at the cup. It's small, handmade. The wood is dark, stained from use, and there's a thin crack running down one side, but it's been sealed with something, resin maybe, so it doesn't leak. The water inside is still, smooth as glass. You don't reach for it right away. You don't know why. Maybe because every other time someone gave you something, there was an expectation attached to it. Drink this, you'll feel better. Eat this, you'll calm down. Do this, you'll be fine. But he hasn't said any of that. He's just sitting there, breathing, slow, deep. You can hear it, the rise and fall of his chest under the robe, steady, unhurried, like he has all night, like he has forever. Your hand moves, not because you decided to, just because it does. Your fingers brush the side of the cup, and the wood is warm, not hot, just warm, like it's been sitting near the fire for a while, soaking up the heat. You pick it up. It's lighter than you expected. The water shifts inside, barely a ripple, and you bring it to your lips. The rim is smooth, worn down by years of mouths pressing against it. You tilt it back. The water is cool, not cold, but cool enough to feel it sliding down your throat, erasing that tightness, that dryness. It tastes like clay, like earth, a little bit gritty, like it came from a well that hasn't been cleaned in a while. But it's good, real. You swallow, and he hears it. You know he does, because his breathing pauses for just a second. Not like he's startled, more like he's listening, paying attention, and then it resumes, slow, deep. You lower the cup, set it back down where it was. And for a moment, you think maybe you should say something. Thank you. Or, that was good. Or, I needed that. But before you can open your mouth, he speaks. Quiet, almost a murmur. Sometimes thirst is the only honest thing left. You freeze, because that sentence lands somewhere deep, somewhere you didn't know was open. You don't know what he means, not exactly, but you feel it, the truth of it, the weight. He's still not looking at you, still watching the embers. His hands haven't moved, his posture hasn't changed, but something shifted. Something in the air between you, like he just named something you've been carrying for months, maybe years, and didn't have words for. Thirst. Not for water, for something else. Something no one's been able to give you, no matter how many conversations you've had, no matter how many times you've tried to explain. You sit there. He sits there. The cup rests between you, still holding a few drops at the bottom. And the fire keeps dying. Slow, patient, the silence stretches out. Long, uncomfortably long. You can feel it pressing against your chest now, that familiar weight, the one that shows up whenever you're sitting with someone and neither of you is saying anything, the one that whispers, say something, anything, before this gets weird. But he doesn't seem bothered. He's still staring at the embers, still breathing. You shift your weight. The stone is starting to hurt. Your hip, your tailbone. You adjust, trying to find a position that doesn't ache, and the movement makes a small scraping sound, fabric against rock. He doesn't look, doesn't acknowledge it. And somehow that makes it worse. Because now you're thinking about whether he noticed, whether he's waiting for you to speak, whether this whole thing, the fire, the water, the space he made for you, was leading up to something, a question, a conversation. Your throat tightens again. Not from thirst this time, from the anticipation, the dread, because you know how this goes. Someone sits with you, quiet at first, patient, and then comes the question, soft, gentle. So, what's going on? And then you're supposed to explain, supposed to find words for the thing that has no words, supposed to make sense of the mess inside your head so they can understand, so they can help, so they can fix you. But you can't. You never can. And when you try, when you stumble through half sentences and broken thoughts, you see it in their eyes. Confusion, concern, sometimes pity, and then the advice starts. Have you tried this? Maybe you should do that. I know someone who felt the same way, and they just... You swallow hard. Your hands are gripping your knees now, tight. Fingernails pressing into skin through the fabric. You're waiting for him to turn, waiting for the question. And then he speaks. You don't have to talk. That's it. 4 words. Quiet, low, like he's talking to the fire, not to you. You freeze. Your breath catches. Because no one has ever said that to you before. Not like this. Not in a way that felt true. People say, "You can talk to me," or "I'm here if you need to talk." But it's always wrapped in expectation. They want you to talk. They're waiting for it, sitting there with their empathy faces on, ready to receive your pain and do something with it. But he's not doing that. He's not even looking at you. His hands are still resting on his knees, loose, not gripping anything. His shoulders are relaxed. His head is tilted slightly, like he's listening to something far away. The fire, the wind, the night. You open your mouth, close it. Because what do you even say to that? Thank you? I wasn't going to talk anyway? Or do you try to explain why you can't talk, which would be talking, which would defeat the whole point? He shifts again, just slightly. His weight leans back, and he props himself up on one hand, palm flat against the stone behind him. His other hand lifts, scratches the side of his jaw. You hear the rasp of stubble against calluses, rough, tired. Then he speaks again, slower this time. Sometimes silence is more honest than anything you could say. Your chest cracks open, just a little. Not enough to break, but enough to feel it. That pressure, that knot you've been carrying, loosens just a fraction. Because he's right. He's so right It almost hurts. Every time you've tried to explain what's happening inside you, it came out wrong, distorted, like trying to describe a color that doesn't exist. And the more you talked, the further away you got from the truth, until eventually you just stopped trying. You stopped talking, and everyone thought that meant you were okay, or that you were being difficult, or that you didn't trust them enough. But it was never that. It was just that silence was the only thing that didn't lie. You look at him, really look at him, for the first time since you sat down. His profile is outlined by the faint glow of the embers, strong jaw, nose that's been broken before, maybe more than once, lines around his eyes, deeper than you'd expect for someone his age. His hair is tangled, falling past his ears, and there's dust in it, dirt, like he hasn't washed in days. He looks tired, not sleepy tired, soul tired, the kind that comes from carrying things no one else can see. And suddenly, you wonder if he's sitting out here because he couldn't sleep either, if he has his own noise, his own silence that won't translate into words. He turns his head, just a little, not enough to look at you directly, but enough that you can see the corner of his eye, the edge of his cheek, and he's not smiling. He's not giving you that soft, reassuring look people give when they're trying to make you feel better. He just looks present, like he's actually here, with you. In this moment, not thinking about what comes next, not waiting for you to perform. Just here. Your eyes start to burn. Not because you're sad, not because you're relieved, just because something inside you finally believes it, that you don't have to talk, that you don't have to explain, that you can sit here in the dark with your silence, and it's enough. You're enough. A tear slips down your cheek. Slow, warm. It trails down to your jaw, hangs there for a second, then drops onto your hand. You feel it land. Feel the wetness spread across your knuckle. He doesn't comment on it. Doesn't reach over, doesn't do anything. He just turns his gaze back to the fire and breathes. In, out, in, out. And you match him without meaning to. Your breath syncs with his, slow, deep, filling your lungs all the way down, then letting it go, not forcing it, just letting it happen. The night wraps around you both. The fire barely glows now. Just a few red spots in a bed of gray ash. And the silence between you isn't heavy anymore. It's just silence. Honest. Real. The fire is almost dead now. Just a whisper of heat. A memory of warmth. You're still sitting there. He's still sitting there. The silence has settled into something you can almost touch, like fabric draped over both of you. Heavy, but not suffocating. Your breathing has slowed. Deeper. Calmer. You don't know when that happened, when the tightness in your chest finally let go, but it did. And now there's just this strange, fragile quiet between you. Then he speaks again. Not to you, to the air, to himself, maybe. I used to work with wood. You blink. That's not what you expected. You don't know what you expected, but it wasn't that. His voice is quieter now, rougher, like he's been holding it in for too long and it's finally breaking free. He shifts forward, elbows on knees, hands clasped loosely between them. His head drops a little, and you can't see his face anymore. Just the curve of his back, the slope of his shoulders. Tables, chairs, doors, yokes for oxen. He pauses. Most nights, I'd work late, after everyone else went to bed. It was the only time it was quiet enough to think. You don't move. Don't breathe too loud. Because this feels fragile. Like if you shift wrong, if you interrupt, he'll stop. And you don't want him to stop. There was this one piece of cedar, he says. His voice is softer now, slower, like he's remembering something far away. Beautiful wood, dark grain, smooth as skin. A merchant brought it in. Wanted a chest for his daughter's wedding. Said it had to be perfect. He rubs his palms together, slow, like he's trying to warm them, or like he's feeling something that isn't there anymore. I spent weeks on it, shaping it, sanding it down, running my hands over every inch to make sure there were no splinters, no rough spots. It looked flawless. He stops, long enough that you think maybe that's the end of the story. But then he continues. I was almost finished. One more day, maybe two, and then I saw it. His jaw tightens. You can see it even in the dim light. A crack, right down the center, hidden inside the grain, so deep I never saw it when I started. But once the wood dried out, once I'd shaped it and put pressure on it, he makes a soft sound. Not quite a laugh. Not quite a sigh. It's split, right in half. You sit there, frozen. Because you know what he's doing. He's not just telling you a story. He's showing you something. Something about cracks, about hidden fractures, about looking perfect on the outside while falling apart where no one can see. But he doesn't say that. He doesn't explain. He just keeps going. I tried to fix it. I used glue, clamps, everything I had. I worked through the night, thinking if I could just hold it together long enough, maybe it would heal, maybe it would seal itself back up. His hands unclasped fall to his sides. It didn't. You swallow. Your throat feels thick again, but not in the same way as before. This time, it's not from holding things in. It's from recognition, from hearing your own story in his words, even though he's talking about wood. The merchant came to pick it up, he says. I had to tell him it was ruined, that I couldn't finish it, that the wood was broken before I even started, and I just didn't know. He pauses, breathes. He was angry, said I should have seen it, should have known, should have tested it first. Another pause, longer this time. And he was right. You feel something twist in your chest, because that's the part you know too well. The blame, the voice that says you should have known, should have seen it coming, should have been stronger, smarter, better at holding yourself together. But then he speaks again, and his voice changes. Softer, almost gentle. But the crack wasn't the wood's fault. You look up. He's still staring at the ground, still not looking at you, but you can hear it in his voice, the weight of what he's saying. It didn't choose to break. It didn't want to be flawed. It was just made that way, grown that way, and no amount of sanding or shaping or trying to make it look perfect on the outside could change what was already broken inside. Your breath stops, because that's it. That's the thing no one ever says. That maybe the crack isn't your fault. Maybe it was there before you even knew what to call it, before you had words for the ache, before you started trying to explain it to people who couldn't understand. He picks up a stick from the ground, thin, brittle. He turns it over in his hands, fingers tracing the rough bark, the places where it splintered off from the tree. I kept that piece of cedar, he says, for years. In the corner of the workshop, I'd look at it sometimes, at the split running down the middle, and I'd think about how much time I spent trying to make it something it could never be. He snaps the stick. Not hard. Just a clean break. The two halves fall into the ash. I don't do that anymore. You don't know what to say. You don't know if you're supposed to say anything. But something in your chest shifts, loosens, like a knot you didn't know you were holding finally coming undone. He leans back again, looks up at the sky. Stars scattered above you both, small and distant and cold. Some things are already broken, he says, and that's not a failure. It's just the truth. You sit there. He sits there. The embers barely glow now, just darkness and breath, and the weight of a story that wasn't really about wood at all. The stars are brighter now, or maybe your eyes adjusted. He's still leaning back, looking up at the sky. You've been sitting long enough that your body aches. Lower back, shoulders, neck. You shift, and something in your spine cracks softly. He hears it. And then, without warning, he turns. His whole body pivots toward you. Now he's facing you, fully, for the first time. Your breath catches. You weren't ready to be looked at. His face is half in shadow, but you can see his eyes, dark, deep, fixed on you in a way that makes your skin prickle. Not threatening, just seeing. You want to look away, but you can't. His gaze isn't searching, isn't analyzing. It's just there, resting on you. He doesn't speak right away. He just looks. And the longer he looks, the more you feel it, being seen. Not the version you show people, the actual you, the one you hide, the broken one. Your throat tightens, your eyes burn, and then I see you. Something inside you breaks. Not violently, more like ice melting. Something frozen suddenly remembering how to move. Your face crumples. The tears come fast, hot, spilling down your cheeks, soaking into your collar. You try to stop, try to breathe, but you can't. Those 3 words landed somewhere so deep you didn't know it existed. A place you've been protecting, because if they really saw, they'd leave. But he's still sitting there. Hasn't moved, hasn't looked away. Not saying anything else, not comforting, not reaching out. Just sitting, watching, letting you fall apart. The sobs shake your shoulders. You sound broken, pathetic. Every version of yourself you've tried not to be. And he's still there. Minutes pass. You lose track of time. Finally, the sobs quiet. Your breathing slows. Hiccups, shudders. You lower your hands. Your face is soaked, eyes swollen. And he's still looking at you. Not with pity, just with that same steady gaze. You wipe your face. You probably look wrecked. But he doesn't flinch. He's not surprised, not shocked by your breakdown, like he already knew. Saw the weight you were carrying before you even sat down. He saw it and made space anyway. You start. Your voice cracks. I didn't want you to see. He shakes his head once. I already saw. You freeze. Before you sat down, before tonight, he pauses. I've been seeing you the whole time. Your chest tightens, but not painfully, like something opening. You think you're invisible, he says, that no one notices, that you've gotten so good at hiding that even people close to you don't see what's happening. He leans forward slightly. But I see you. He says it again, slower. I see the way you hold yourself together, how you nod and smile and say you're fine when you're not, how you carry things because you're afraid if you put them down, you'll disappoint someone. You can't breathe. I see the nights you can't sleep, the moments when you're surrounded by people and you've never felt more alone. A tear slips down. I see the parts you hate, the parts you think make you unlovable, the parts you're convinced would make everyone leave. He stops, breathes. I see all of it. You're shaking, and I'm still here. Those 4 words hit like a punch. Because that's what you've been terrified of, that if someone really saw you, they wouldn't stay. But he's sitting right there, looking at you like you're not a problem to solve, just a person worth seeing. You break again, quietly, silent tears as you sit there, finally letting yourself be seen. And he doesn't look away. He just keeps watching, steady, present. There, your breathing is still uneven, ragged at the edges, but quieter now. The tears have slowed to a trickle, sticky on your cheeks, cooling in the night air. He shifts his weight, settling back into a more relaxed position, not away from you, just easing the tension in his own body. His hand moves to his knee, fingers drumming once, twice, then stopping. You realize you've been holding your breath. You let it out slowly. He's quiet for a long time. Long enough that you start to wonder if that's it, if the conversation is over, if you're supposed to get up now, go back to your tent, pretend this didn't happen. But then he speaks again, softer this time. I tried to explain once. His voice is different now, less steady, like he's walking on uneven ground. To my brothers, about why I couldn't just stay in the workshop, why I had to leave. You glance at him. His jaw is tight, eyes fixed on something in the distance you can't see. They didn't understand. They thought I was being reckless, selfish, abandoning the family. He pauses, swallows. Maybe they were right. You stay still. I tried to tell them it wasn't about them. that it was something I had to do. But the more I talked, the worse it got. Every word I said just made them angrier or more confused. His hand clenches into a fist, then releases. Eventually, I stop trying, because what's the point when people have already decided who you are, what you mean, why you're doing something? Your words just bounce off. They don't land. You know that feeling. God, you know it. The exhaustion of trying to make someone understand when they've already made up their mind, when they've already decided you're overreacting, being dramatic, making things harder than they need to be. My mother cried, he says. His voice cracks slightly. She didn't say much, just looked at me like I was breaking her heart, and maybe I was. He rubs his face with both hands, rough, like he's trying to scrub something away. I wanted to stay. Part of me did. The part that hated seeing her cry. The part that wanted to be the son they needed. He drops his hands. But I couldn't. Because if I stayed, I'd disappear. I'd become whoever they wanted me to be. And the person I actually was would just stop existing. Your throat closes up again. Because that's it exactly. That's the choice you've been making every day. Disappear into what people expect, or risk losing them by being real. People think being misunderstood is about being rejected, he says. But it's worse than that, because rejection at least acknowledges you exist. Being misunderstood means people think they know you, but they're talking to a version of you that isn't real. And you're standing right there, trying to tell them, no, that's not me, but they can't hear you. He turns to look at you again. His eyes are wet. Not crying, just glassy, raw. You spend so much energy trying to bridge that gap, trying to find the right words, the right explanation, the right way to make them see. And when it doesn't work, when they still don't get it, you start to wonder if maybe you're the problem, if maybe you're just too complicated, too much. You nod. You don't mean to, but you do. Because yes. So you stop talking, he says. You smile. You nod. You let them think whatever they're going to think, because at least then, you're not constantly failing to make them understand. At least then, you can pretend it doesn't hurt. A tear slides down your cheek. Then another. He sees them, doesn't comment. But it does hurt, he says quietly. It hurts every single time. And the loneliest part is that no one knows, because you've gotten so good at hiding it. You wipe your face with your sleeve. Your voice comes out hoarse, barely a whisper. How do you keep going? He's quiet for a moment. Then he shrugs, small, tired. Some days I don't know. He looks back at the dead embers. Some days I want to give up, go back, pretend I never left. just be what they wanted and stop fighting. He picks up a piece of ash, crumbles it between his fingers, lets it fall. But then I remember. He stops, starts again. Being understood isn't the point. It would be nice. God, it would be nice. But it's not the point. Then what is? Your voice is small. He looks at you. Really looks. Being real. The words settle between you like stones. Not being understood isn't your fault, he says. It's not a failure. It doesn't mean you're broken or wrong or too much. It just means you're complex. And most people don't have the capacity for complexity. They want simple, easy. Something they can fit into a box and label and move on from. He leans forward, elbows on knees again. But you're not simple, and that's not something to apologize for. You sit there, breathing, barely, because no one has ever said that to you before. No one has ever looked at your complexity and said, "That's not the problem." You don't need everyone to understand, he says. You just need to stop abandoning yourself to make them comfortable. Those words hit different, sharper, cleaner, because that's what you've been doing, abandoning yourself, piece by piece, conversation by conversation, smiling and nodding and saying, "I'm fine," while the real you screams underneath. It's not going to stop hurting, he says. His voice is gentle but firm. People are still going to misunderstand. They're still going to make assumptions. They're still going to want you to be simpler than you are. He pauses. But you'll survive it, because you're not doing it alone anymore. You look at him, eyes blurred with tears. "You're not?" you whisper. He shakes his head. Slow, certain. "No, you're not." And somehow, in this moment, sitting in the dark with a dying fire and a man who just told you his own story of being misunderstood, you believe him. The silence that follows is different, softer. Your body feels heavy, not tense, the exhausted kind, like you've been holding yourself upright for miles and someone just said it's okay to sit down. He's looking at you again, then he asks, "Quiet? Are you tired?" You blink. The question catches you off guard, not because it's complicated, because it's simple, but the way he asks it, it's not polite. It's specific. You start, stop, I don't know. He doesn't push, just waits. And in that waiting, you realize, yes, not sleepy, not physically drained. The other kind, the kind that lives in your bones. Yeah, you whisper, I'm tired. He nods slowly, like he already knew. Not just today, he says. You shake your head. No. How long? He asks. You can't remember a time when you didn't feel like this, like every interaction cost something you didn't have but gave anyway. A long time, you finally say. He leans back, looking up. It's exhausting, isn't it? Trying to make people understand, trying to be what they need, while also trying to be real. You nod. And the tired that comes from carrying things alone, from pretending you're fine when you're not. Your hands are trembling. I can't. Your voice breaks. I can't keep doing this. He turns to look at you. His expression doesn't panic, is less than #2. 0 hash is greater than don't. You stare at him. What? Don't keep doing it. If it's killing you, stop. But I can't, just people need. He holds up a hand. Gentle. No, you don't. You've been taught that your worth depends on how much you can carry, how much you can endure, that if you stop, you're failing. His eyes lock on yours. But that's a lie. Your breath catches. You're not a pack animal. You're a person. And people break. They're supposed to rest. But if I stop, if you stop, the people who actually care will understand. And the people who don't, they were never going to understand anyway. Tears build again. I don't know how to stop, you whisper. I don't know how to not carry everything. He picks up a small stone, holds it in his palm. You don't have to drop everything at once. You just start with one thing. He opens his hand, lets the stone fall. It hits the ground with a soft thud. And then another, until your hands are empty enough to hold something that actually matters. You stare at the stone. What if I'm too tired to even start? He looks at you. Then you rest first. Those 3 words settle over you like a blanket. You don't have to fix everything tonight. You don't have to become a different person by morning. He shifts closer. You just have to stop pretending you're not tired. A tear slips down your cheek. I'm so tired, you whisper. I know. His voice is soft. I know you are. And for the first time and longer than you can remember, you believe that someone actually knows. Not the version of tired you show people, the real tired. You sit there, he sits there. The sky is starting to change, just barely, a hint of gray at the edges of black. Dawn is still far off, but coming. The fire is dead now, completely. Just gray ash and blackened stones, no heat, no glow, just the memory of warmth. The sky is lighter now. That deep black has faded to charcoal, and at the horizon, there's a thin line of pale blue. You don't know what time it is. The space between night and morning where time doesn't exist. He's still sitting beside you. He hasn't moved much, just been here the whole time. You glance at him, his head tilted back, eyes half closed. He looks exhausted, the lines around his eyes deeper, shoulders sagging, dirt ground into his palms. And you realize he's been carrying things too. You wonder if anyone ever sits with him like this, if anyone ever asks if he's tired. Probably not. You should sleep, you say. He opens his eyes, a small smile, tired but real. So should you. I don't think I can. He nods. Then we'll sit a while longer. You look down at your hands, still trembling, fingers laced together. Slowly, you loosen them. Let them rest in your lap. Open, empty. It feels strange, vulnerable, but not bad. I don't know what happens next, you say quietly. You don't have to. You turn to look at him. What do you mean? You've been trying to figure everything out, trying to protect yourself from all of it before it happens. He looks at you, but you can't. So what do I do? You wake up tomorrow and the day after, and you see what comes. That's it. That's it. You're too tired to argue, and maybe he's right. Will it get easier? Your voice is small. He doesn't rush to reassure you. Some days yes, some days no. You nod. Somehow, that's more comforting than a lie. But you won't be doing it alone, even on the days when it feels like you are. You look at him, at the exhaustion in his eyes, the way he's sitting here even though he's probably just as tired, just as broken. Why did you let me sit here, you ask? Because I knew what it was like to need someone to stay. Your throat closes. And did they? Did someone stay for you? His jaw tightens. He looks away. Not always. The silence is heavy, but honest. You realize he's not a savior sitting with a broken person. He's just a person sitting with another person. Both tired, both carrying things, both trying to figure out how to keep going. And somehow, that makes it better. The horizon is brighter now, stars fading, olive trees becoming visible against the growing light. He stands up, slowly, stiffly, brushes the dust off his robe. He looks down at you. You can stay here if you want, or you can walk back with me. No pressure, just an offer. You look at the dead fire, at the place where, hours ago, you felt like you were drowning. And now, you're not fixed, not healed, but you're breathing. You stand up, your legs stiff, body aching, but you stand. He turns and starts walking back toward the camp. You follow, not because you have to, because you want to. The path is rocky. You stumble once, and he glances back, but doesn't reach out, just waits until you catch your balance, then keeps walking. And you realize he's not going to carry you. He's just going to walk beside you. When you reach the camp edge, he stops. The light is stronger now. You can see his face clearly. The steadiness, the presence. Get some rest. Even if you can't sleep, just rest. You nod. He starts to turn away, then pauses. And tomorrow, if you need to sit by a fire again, he doesn't finish. He doesn't need to. You understand? He walks away, doesn't look back, just disappears into the camp. You look up at the sky. The stars are almost gone. The sun hasn't risen yet, but it's coming. And you're still here, still standing, still breathing. And for now, that's enough.